Hey everybody, Jim here with another video for you. This is Shocktober 2025, episode 6. But before I begin, at the end of this video, if you like what you see, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, please leave comments below. Now, as I film this, today is Monday, October 6th. That is why it is episode 6 of my Shocktober series. I am planning on doing a video every day. And today, it being Monday, I thought, let's go with a little bit of motorized mayhem Monday. So we are going to highlight 3 films that have to deal with cars or vehicles and the mayhem that entails from that. So let's begin. The first one is from the 70s, 1977 to be exact. And to me, this is one of the greatest Jaws ripoffs of all time, even though it's about a car. And I'm talking about The Car, starring James Brolin, Kathleen Lloyd, Ronnie Cox. This movie's awesome. It's directed by Elliot Silverstein. There you go. And again, when I say Jaws ripoff, that's exactly what this movie is. It's instead of a shark in the ocean, it's a car in the desert. And what's his face? Thanos' dad, James, here more or less plays the Roy Scheider part from Jaws. But yeah, this movie's fantastic. Now, I know some of the younger people in the audience might find this movie boring and this and that and the other. And Ollie, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about you, man. But the rest of us, older people, we love this movie. We have a soft spot for this film. The Car was one of those drive-in films that I just love. And the TV promo alone basically just, freaked out an entire generation of kids. It was a kinder, gentler time back in the 70s, you got to understand. But yeah, I love this batshit crazy movie. Ronnie Cox is great in this movie. And it does have one of the best scenes ever of a car going through a trailer. And again, if you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. I love this movie. So the first selection is The Car. But if we're talking about killer car movies, you have to talk about John Carpenter's Christine. And when I say John Carpenter's Christine, I mean John Carpenter's Christine. Because even though this is based on a Stephen King novel, it's really not. This is kind of like Stanley Kubrick's The Shining as opposed to the book. And the reason why is very simple. This movie was being filmed as the book was more or less being put through the editing process. It hadn't been published yet. John Carpenter got an advanced copy of the rough outline of the book, and that's what the movie is based on. And that's why the movie and the book are so different. But regardless, Christine's a classic. It's one of John Carpenter's, it's right in the middle of John Carpenter's run of just great movies, starring Keith Gordon, Alexandra Paul, John Stockwell, who has become a director in his own right, Harry Dean Stanton, and the wonderful Robert Prosky. You know it's coming. You know what, Peppa? You can't polish a toy. I love that guy so much, and I love this movie. The physical effects with the car still hold up to this day. The only gripe I've got about this movie is the bullies in high school, especially Buddy Rubberton, the main antagonist in this movie, looks like he's 35 years old, and he's supposed to be 18. I haven't seen an older looking teenager since Stockard Channing in Grease. But regardless, love Christine. Love the beginning of it with the George Thorogood sound, Bad to the Bone. It's classic. So the second pick today is Christine. But now we got to go to the granddaddy of all, of course. Speaking of Stephen King, and speaking of killer cars, but in this case, killer trucks, I'm talking about Cocaine the Movie, a.k.a. Maximum Overdrive. The only film that Stephen King ever directed. He did write the screenplay based on his short story Trucks, which we'll get to that in a minute. And the reason why I call this movie Cocaine the Movie, it's pretty well documented that Stephen King had a huge alcohol and cocaine problem in the 80s. And when he directed this movie, he was basically so wired on coke, he doesn't recall any of it except for the one scene where he almost blinded the cinematographer. It's the scene where the guy gets run over by the lawnmower. Go check out the episode that me, Sean, and Kenny did on the Talking Movies show about Stephen King. I go into that story a little more in detail. But yeah, this movie is not good. I would go so far as to say this movie is very bad. All that being said, I fucking love this movie in every way and always have. And it's not a guilty pleasure, folks. I wear that shit on my sleeve. Starring Emilio Estevez, Pat Hingle, and Yeardley Smith, who is most famously known as Lisa Simpson. She's a fine actress, but my God, is she annoying in this movie. Curtis! Curtis! Every time she screams, if you did a shot, you would die of alcohol poisoning halfway through the movie. I shit you not. She is like nails on a chalkboard. Other than that, I love this movie. The soundtrack from AC/DC is an all-timer. And again, this movie is not good, but it's great if you know what I mean. So the third and final pick for today's Mayhem on the Highway Monday is Maximum Overdrive, aka Cocaine the Movie. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, please leave comments below. Let me know how you feel about this series. Let me know how you feel about these 3 films. Before I end, I want to mention that today, in about a couple of hours actually, I am going to be on the live stream with the Loons with my good friend Ollie over in the UK. That will start at 1 p.m. Central Time. And tomorrow night, Tuesday, will be the next episode of Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim. That's October 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Our very special guest will be Dan from Mr. Dan in Horror, and we're going to be covering classic horror movies that came out before The Exorcist, which was released in 1973. You can watch that live either on Sean's channel at Movie Assault or on the Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim channel, which is at Talking Movies 2024. One last announcement is this coming Saturday, the 11th, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, the 11th of October will be the next episode of Shooting the Shit with Jim. It'll be episode 21, as a matter of fact. And my very special guest will be Andy from the Forgotten World of Movies, also from the UK. Andy is a fantastic guy. He's been taking kind of a break from YouTube recently. However, he was kind enough to agree to come onto my show as a guest, and I cannot wait. Andy is an awesome guy. He knows his shit. So I hope you guys can come out on Saturday and spend some time with me and Andy. I'm going to leave links to all these channels in the description below. And again, I just want to stress how much I appreciate each and every one of you. We'll catch you on the next one.